Yo, so we recently had the displeasure of playing this game. Shut up. And, we wanted to do a review. Um, Can you introduce yourself and give your FNAF credentials?
Yes. So, this is my boyfriend, and I grew up playing FNAF, so I played the second game way back in 2015
Yeah.
first. A friend introduced it to me. And then I played the first, third, and fourth ones. But I know all the games, like, we've played them and stuff, so
Yeah.
it's like, I've been a fan of FNAF for like
We've
almost
been
a
playing a
decade.
bit of FNAF recently, too.
Yeah,
We've gone through, like, all of them, basically.
yeah.
Um, and I hate horror games. Well, I don't hate them, it's just like, oh,
You're
fuck.
just scared
I just
easily.
get scared. Um, So we're doing a security breach review, and I think a perfect way to start is probably just with these four, honestly.
And just like their mechanics and stuff, and
Yeah,
what
and
they
the
add to
lack
the
that
game.
they have. So I'd say the first major criticism. So I think this panel, where's the panel? Oh, we'll just start with Chica. Oh, that's Monty. Where's the good panel that showed all of them? There it is.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So we have Chica, who's the second on the left here. She's like what you would call the chase monster.
Like the basic one, yeah.
Yeah. So the problem here is I always thought like one chase monster would be okay, right?
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
Like your amnesia monster or like
Yeah.
your Jack Baker from RE7.
Yeah. You need like your stock chase.
Yeah.
The problem is that all of these, including Freddy at the end, are just chase monsters.
Wait, when does Freddy chase you?
Like when he gets like
Oh, when
captured
he
by
turns evil.
Springtrap.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess Freddy's mechanic of running out of battery and killing you is okay, but anyways, Roxy becomes is just a chase monster. Monty's just a chase monster. Roxy loses her eyes and just becomes a worse chase monster as she's just fast and can see you more
The,
than the other
the problem is
animatronics.
that like I guess she auto tracked you,
Yeah,
and they didn't use their
audio
distract that
mechanics.
and
Yeah,
like the distraction mechanics like did not do anything to
no,
help us. Like I remember playing through that section because like you struggled with it, and I just remember like Roxy auto tracked me literally the whole time.
yeah.
Like her design is cool. It's just
Jump
like
scare is cool too.
yeah, like the one without the eyes. Like the problem with these animatronics that I have is like all their designs are really solid, but it's just like they're not that scary. Like I feel like Monty is pretty creepy,
Yeah,
and it's like after they're dismantled, they're scary. But like I know it's a common complaint for this game, and I love the designs. Like I went into this game expecting to
yeah.
freaking hate it.
I also we should preface this that this game was way better than reviewers on YouTube
Oh
would
yeah,
have you
yeah.
believe.
It's not like as offense. Like there's really great parts to
Yeah,
this game. Like there's a lot of things. Like it's like this game is not like completely gone. Like there you can save this game if they patched it
which they're not
properly.
gonna do
No.
because they're just making another game. So I would like to say, I mean, we can just keep this rolling, but this cast doesn't suck. It gets better as
Yeah.
the game goes on as you
Right.
dismantle them.
Yeah.
It is just that their mechanics aren't really unique.
Except
Monty
Freddy.
just jumps. That's his
Yeah.
cool thing in his fight, and I think his fight's the best. I mean, Chica's is like, you know,
It's all right. It's like
uh,
I like that it emphasizes her cuz like
Roxy's is
callback.
horrible, but
Yeah, but like I like with Chica's excuse me, like as a big Chica girl growing up, I like that it calls back to her love of pizza because that's like a callback to like the very first game, like when she rummages through the kitchen and she has like let's eat,
yeah,
like that's her thing. Like I think that's neat that they did that. But I still think Monty's is like the best fight. I think he's probably like the best of the three,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I think you think Monty's the best of the three or Chica?
Like objectively speaking, I think Monty's the most unique and the scariest when he's dismantled.
Yeah, we did get him pretty good. But there's
Yeah.
other animatronics we should bring up. Mini Music Man sucks. It's just not fun going in every vent and just like, oh, now I have to run.
Yeah.
This kind of makes going in vents annoying, especially because the physics in the vents suck.
Are kind of wonky.
You
Like
can't
getting
like
in is
walk
hard. Yeah.
in any interaction. Like if you have to press a button, you just can't unless you look at it a specific way. a lot of problems happen like that when you need them to work in split-second decisions. The controls aren't good enough to work that way. A good example is Monty's boss fight when you have to get in the cannons. You have to. We played it on the PS4, by the way. You have to look at it at the exact angle the game wants you to look at it,
Yeah.
and it just kind of sucks.
It's just very finicky.
Yeah,
Like,
but sometimes it needs you to be hyper specific, so it just
yeah.
creates a lot of frustration. The other animatronics, the bigger Music Man, is really cool. Actually, one of my favorite sections of the
That
game.
was like cartoonishly awesome. Like,
Yeah,
I
having
kind
a
of
big
love
animatronic,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Like, it was so just out of this world that it was just awesome.
I feel like no one talks about it. Like,
I know,
that wasn't
I've never
spoiled
seen
for
anyone
me at
talk
all.
about, like, I had no idea that was gonna happen. Like, I did not know much about this game going in.
Yeah.
I think Vanny was also a great addition and a little
It was
underutilized.
pretty cool, yeah.
I think she was a, because I think Vanny should have been like, I know it doesn't go with the lore, but I feel like her being like the final boss kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and the fact she just dies in like a cutscene.
Yeah.
Pretty cool cutscene when she
I
gets
know,
ripped
like,
apart.
it's about Afton and FNAF's like, oh yeah, Afton's like the main bad guy, but it's like I wish Security Breach was kind of like its own thing and had like Vanny as like the guy that started everything. But
yeah,
you know,
she had the bite of 84 or something.
Yeah.
So then there's like Burn Trap, who doesn't really attack you. The only other animatronic is the tentacle monster that has
And
horrible.
Sun and Moon.
And the best part of the game, Sun and Moon, I completely forgot about, because Sun and Moon isn't in the rest of the game other than annoying sections where they just throw Moon at you. It's also the endoskeletons too.
Yeah.
So Sun and Moon's entire section, we just talk about that. Because what really, so we'll just talk about the animatronics, then we'll talk about the sections. But
yeah.
You go on Sun and Moon if you want, or I can tell you. I don't care.
So like Sun and Moon is the best animatronic in the game, and I don't even think it's like close.
Yeah.
I think mechanically, like, probably one of the most unique FNAF animatronics. Period.
I just think his animations, like where he's
he's very like
attached to like the sky hook and he swims towards you.
Yeah.
Because he has like the what's it called, like the harness, and he floats up to the ceiling.
I like it because like Sun and Moon, like, very expressive, like he's always waving his arms around and jumping around, and like when he's Sun and the lights are on, you think, oh, it's cute and whimsical. But like when he's Moon and he's
like
doing
low
the
to the
same
ground.
thing,
yeah,
like when he's jumping around doing that in the dark, it's like really creepy. But he's not. He hasn't changed how he's acting. It's just how he is. Like, it's just awesome. Like, he's great.
And the section complements him well.
Yep.
Which is not something that can be said for most of these guys.
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem. There's a tentacle monster at the end of the game, which has horrible hitboxes, and it's just agreed upon just horrible.
I've never seen you more miserable playing a game.
We'll talk about the ending once we get to Markiplier part 10.
Did you want to talk about, like, the daycare section, like, the generators?
So I wanted to talk. So I just want to talk about the animatronics first, and I figured we would talk about the game itself.
Yeah, I'm going off topic, but yeah.
So, like, we're just following the Markiplier. So Markiplier is at the beginning of the game. So we have these. These are save stations. Absolutely fine. I like having save stations, not just like save in a menu. I think this makes it where it's like, you know, you have to remember a little bit more about the map.
And it forces you to learn more about the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, since this video is so long, we might as well just put it on like times fucking 2, 1.5. Fuck it. So there's a lot here. I would say. Well, I guess let's start with, like, the other animatronic in the room, Freddy, which leads into, like, the fundamentals and, like, the gameplay. So let's talk just about general gameplay. So you have Freddy, who is available sometimes. You have a Faz Watch, which you can check cameras, which is pretty useful when you're in, like, roaming sections, but it comes and goes. It could have been used better.
Yeah, I feel like the camera mechanic was kind of lackluster, where it's like, you could have gone that whole game without using it.
Yeah. And
you would have been okay.
You get a couple of weapons. You get some choices in the game about what weapons you're going to use first. If you're a moron, you get the Phaser Blaster first, because that one's just useless. It doesn't work on any of them by the end of the game. So that's great. Other than Chica, but... Anyways, otherwise, you know, it's just your basic run, pick up key cards type game.
It's very Outlast.
Yeah, but bad.
Like Outlast, but if the controls were wonkier.
Yeah, but it's also just like the key cards. Like Outlast, it makes a little more sense. This one, it's like you'll see a door that requires level 3, then you'll get a level 3, and the door will upgrade to level 5.
Okay, so
That's
there was
kind of just cringe.
one part. Now that he's in Chica's room, this is very fitting because when we were like in this section and we were trying to get in these rooms, like Chica's door, it's at like level 7. Then you come back later and it's like you get another car that's like level 5. And then you come back and it's like to get in there it's level 10, and it was like bumped up a bunch. So it's like you can tell the game is like doing things to like, because I feel like if you break the game, which you easily can do, and then you break progression, it will just destroy this game. Like, if you
we never bricked the save though. I want to say that.
Yeah, we did no clip out of the map though at one point.
Yep, that happened at the very end of the game. So I actually uninstalled the game. I had one uninstall moment when I fell through the floor at the very end of the game. So, before we like talk about, I guess like critical flaws, this section here where it's actually like it's kind of the museum section for all of FNAF. It's a little weird in the sense that it's like, why is like Ennard a thing? Because Ennard's kind of secret.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's fine. It's a little like I was saying to Jenna here that there's really no point of caring about FNAF's story. If you care about FNAF's story, fuck you. It's a game about animatronics that kill people.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, the story can just be, like, in this game, I think the story is okay. Yeah. It's really about, like, the gameplay that matters and, like, your character designs. Yeah. What makes that animatronic unique from the other one. Like, take Sun and Moon, how he's very unique from the rest of the cast. Freddy is very unique from the rest of the cast in this game. Like, they both are great examples of using different mechanics well. But I think the one that suffers the most in this game is Roxy. I think she's the worst.
She could have been good.
She could have been great, but I feel like she's a Chica clone that's like verbally abusive.
And just cheats. I mean, it's just like it's not fun to fight against her. And ultimately, like the Chica scream mechanic being the thing that fights against her is not explained at all.
The game has a problem with that, not explaining stuff, which we'll probably get into.
I was going to say, we can talk about flaws, but we can also just look at general sections. I mean, we're looking at an animatronic right here that's a big flaw, and that's the security guard flaws. We kind of overlooked those. And we overlooked endoskeletons. But really, endoskeletons are your SCP-173s or Slenderman.
Or
it's just like...
For my Resident Evil enjoyers, I grew up playing those games. Like, I originally only played Resident Evil games until I met Nick. So it's like...
Dark Souls.
So it's like the Mia doll from the Resident Evil 8 DLC. Like, if you look away, it chases you.
Yeah. Or some of you old folks, it's the... I think it originated from not Dr. Stone, but Doctor Who. It was like angels... like death or something. They're like little stone angels. They're crying angels that move close. I think that was like when it was like the old British show.
I remember from Doctor Who, like the fuck is that phone booth thing called? What is it called? I can't remember.
TARDIS.
Yes, that. I see that thing everywhere.
I was like, it's a phone booth. What do you mean? But yeah, no, I mean
that's
but yeah, so endoskeletons is just like kind of horror trope. But anyways, the security bots.
I really liked the endoskeletons, though. I thought they were, like, really good. Like, and their section was creepy. I liked them, but they definitely were, a little cliche.
They were good in that section, but I think when they used them elsewhere, it was
they should have been just one section. Yeah. You're right. So now let's talk about the security bots, because I feel like they're a huge part of the game.
Are basically what make up for the fact that the AI is non-existent on the animatronics.
That they're not Chris Walker from Outlast.
Yeah. So they
stalking you everywhere.
So it's basically like they just flag down the animatronic. The animatronic spawns on you like some cyberpunk cops.
Yep.
And really that's it. So it's a game about avoiding like this weird pathing of them, learning the pathing and walking around it. Basically, if you juke the enemy once, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And as far as animatronics and like general scares go, it really just takes you getting overwhelmed until here's the one-time distraction plays any part in this game, by the way, ironically. Idiot. Anyways, so it was shut up, Markiplier. I got jump scared by Markiplier before I even finished my thought.
Security bots.
Yeah, the scary bots basically just suck. It just ruins like your animatronics, in my opinion. I feel like they could have made tighter sections.
I was gonna say, I feel like with the security bots, I think if they're gonna do what they did with the game and make it so the animatronics are in a set area,
Yeah.
to more like evenly distribute the security bots, because I feel like they're either like few and far between, like in here, or like that arcade with Roxy. There's like 10,000 of them in that room. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like there was way too
Yeah,
many in
and
that
that's
room,
like,
and
what are
then
you
there was
supposed to
also
do?
Roxy, who was just mega aggressive. I feel like that room in particular was like, when I was watching you play, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like way too much.
Yeah.
But like having a couple of them is fine, because it's like
example.
it forces you to like just be on your toes. But I think they just don't quite. I don't think they knew what to fill those gaps with between animatronic encounters. Because you can't have them stalking you all the way like a Chris Walker, because there's 5 of the animatronics. So it's like, it's different.
So
this game just reminds me
good.
so much of Outlast. It's like, how can I not compare the two?
Well, no, it is like the 3D FNAF.
Yeah. So what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so the game opens up a little bit more here.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a fair time to talk about the mall setting. Like, I don't want to cover the general stuff before going into like, you know, the endings or specific sections that are either horrible or good.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of those I want to highlight, but like, I just kind of like having this in the background. But what do you think about the mall? Could have been better. You think this was the setting they should have always went with?
Oh, I really like the Pizzaplex. I was telling Nick when we were playing it, like, it reminds me a lot of like that vaporwave like aesthetic, and that isn't a direction I thought FNAF would go. But I just think this game is like not that scary. It's like the basement sections with the endoskeletons, that was scary. And not saying like dark equals scary, because it doesn't, but like it just doesn't feel like it's closed. It just feels like the staff just up and left, and it's still like running.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Like, it doesn't look like it's shut down for the day. Like, because if it was shut down for the day, like, you know, all the shops' lights would be off, like all the lights would be off. You know, you'd have your horror game flashlight. I do love the Pizzaplex. I love that it is big and open and it encourages exploration. But that leads into my next gripe of this game, and it's that map.
We will get to that.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about the mall setting.
Yeah.
Because spoilers, started playing Rune, and we'll play more of it. Probably talk about it when we finish it. But I instantly liked that more. Even though it was more horror game. It just felt better. I was talking to you about this, where I was thinking if they more did like a Toys R Us type thing, where it was run down, maybe do some more like liminal, like, you know, it's an abandoned mall, like things are on the floor. Rune, I think, was a little too dilapidated for me. Rune could have been like
I feel like you need
back.
that middle ground, and this, like, right now, like what we're looking at is very liminal. It's just like with liminal spaces, because
you want nothing going on.
Exactly, and it's just too bright. Like,
dimmer.
The lighting isn't quite there. Yeah. Like, if it was dimmer, like, see, this lighting's okay. This is alright. Like, dimmer, like,
I'm thinking,
hallways,
like Toys R Us that's been
claustrophobic.
closed.
Yeah.
For a long time, and the toys they've just been inactive, but they've been left running.
Yeah.
I think that could have been a good, like, basis. Sticking to, I guess, a little bit more general topics, I think that's kind of what I want to do, unless, like, if we think of some highlights we want to talk about, we'll talk about some.
We do have, like,
highlights.
our big gripes, like, with the map and stuff, but, like, I think we'll just save that.
So you want to do the map as more of the general thing? Let's go. Oh, you mean, like, specifically the map on the Fazwatch?
Well, like...
We can talk about the map and objectives, if you want.
Yeah, because they didn't...
And the lack of clarity in this game in general.
Like, the lack of, like... We had to look up, so, like, if you're playing a game, like... I'm a first-time Souls player from you.
Yeah.
I played those games completely blind without having to Google anything.
Yeah.
That is how you should be able to play these games.
Yeah.
Is going in blind, and you can't do that playing this game. That's not... It's
very
not
hard.
Possible. Yeah. So kind of go into that, because, like...
Bigger point to this. what we're watching now is when I would say the game was most put together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would say it's after or right before you destroy your first animatronic. I would say after you destroy your first animatronic. You had a choice between, like, Monty or Chica. And I think there's relatively good direction to go and do that. Now, the hints are a little on the nose, but then it's also like, oh, get, like, Monty, whatever, or whatever, mystery mix.
Yeah.
And then it gets a little confusing at this point. But basically, up until that point, I would say, what, like halfway point, the game is pretty straightforward, gives you pretty clear objectives, doesn't mislead you all that much. But after that point, the game gets very broad, and it goes into the bigger topic of this being more of a like a choose your own adventure almost style, where there is a lot of non-linearity to it. Additionally, if we're going to talk about misleading, there's several voice lines like, oh, I updated your map, or hide, and it's
bad.
like you don't actually hide anywhere. And there's several voice lines like this that just mislead the player. There's also a key on the map. I don't know if he ever pulls up the map here. I'll try to find it. A clip of the map being pulled up.
But what you're talking about is like when Freddy says, oh, I labeled the 2 places on your map, I think, to use the party pass, right?
Yeah.
And then they just weren't labeled, so like you'd better off just not having that at all, or just patching it and just labeling it anyways.
Yeah. So in some ways it was nice, like, oh, I learned the Pizzaplex, and I by the end of that game I really did kind of know where to go, and I like I said, I can appreciate that from a certain angle, but it was clearly not what the game was trying to do, and I think that's the big problem. Is there's a lot of things in this game that I think they, quote unquote, wanted to do, but they just quite simply did not do. I am trying to. Oh, I got the map. Here we go. So we can see here that there is a charging station, Freddy's location, stairs, unlocked area, locked area, and another locked area. So on here you have the stairs and the charging station. You do have the player, and you see that nothing is labeled on here. So you have to physically see where anything is.
And just look at how minuscule your character is compared to everything else that's going on here. Like, it's
so it does show Freddy's location, but nowhere does it show locked areas or unlocked areas. You're completely flying blind, and even the map key, the legend here, doesn't actually represent what's in game, despite showing that it's there. So I don't know why you wouldn't just remove these 3 symbols. And they specifically tell you that they're on the map, and they're just not. So in that regard, it's just trash. There's a lot of vague things. Sometimes characters will just say something, or you'll get some objective. You're supposed to know what it means. And a lot of times it just is like, what the fuck? Like, you don't know what floor it's on, you don't know where, and when you even get there, you don't even know what you're doing. Perfect example, I would say, and this is going into specifics, but I would say the Roxy Raceway section, where it just says get into Roxy's Raceway. Now the problem with this is, so in front of like Monty's area, I don't know if this is like something that shows up here at all in this episode, but in front of Monty and Phaser Blast, you see a big like poster
like
that
bright
says
sign, like also like the L Chips and even the Bonnie Bowl area all have like those big signs. But then like, or you go into it because I know what you're talking about, but you play.
No, I know. I'm just trying to find a video with it in it. But essentially all it is like right behind those areas, you go into the Monty section or the Chica section. Well, Roxy has a section, and it just says Roxy Raceway on it, and for like no reason, it's around here.
Like in this area.
Let's see if I can't find it.
We saw like the L-chip sign and that like.
Ironically, this is where the Roxy Raceway is. It's actually off to the left, right underneath Markiplier. Nothing here tells you that it's up here.
Yeah, because isn't like the sign like not.
The sign is actually, you can see it. Let's see if he turns around. Actually, right down there.
Yeah.
So it's on a floor below, and you go behind it, and there's a locked door behind it. So you would assume there's actually an unlocked door and a locked door. The unlocked door that's there leads you to nothing that is Roxy Raceway, and the locked door you might think you'd come back and open. This is not true. You actually go upstairs to the place I showed earlier, and you go there. You can also see that there was Phaser Blaster, and over on the right here is Monty
Is
Golf.
right, yeah.
So all these sections have the section right behind it. Roxy's Raceway just says go to Roxy Raceway. Again, oh, I'll mark it on your map. Bullshit. Um, and you're wandering around, and all of a sudden, in the back of some construction zone, you use a voice box somehow to open a gate, and you happen to go in the Roxy Raceway. Nothing in the game insinuates that it's back here. It's completely random, and
Not
there's
even
many
a
such
note.
instances.
Even like just a note. Like, we're Resident Evil players, and we know like even like a clue
Yeah.
could be hidden in a note. Like, they didn't even do that.
No. So there's a lot of like misdirection and just vagueness in this game. I would say in the Chica section, that's another great example. Monty Golf was kind of straightforward, other than like going to Mazer Size.
Oh, the section we gotta
which
put
we'll
the,
talk
the
about
gun back
Mazer
before
Size.
you can leave.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my god,
so
that was so bad.
we are all right. Sorry guys, it's devolved into specifics now. So another vagueness thing is I did the Chica thing first. We did Phaser Blast.
Because I love Chica.
Yeah, so we were like, oh, we'll do Chica because we didn't know if we were going to do Monty or how the game was going to go. So anyways, we go and do Chica, and we beat her fairly easily. I don't think we died.
No, I think
And I think we spent 20 minutes legitly looking for the exit. It says, use the winner's elevator. It doesn't tell you any context of where it is. It doesn't give you any marker. It doesn't tell you anything.
Direction either.
It tells you winner's elevator. So you pace around the entire outside of that map.
That's basically a maze, by the way.
Yeah. And I did. I paced the entire. I got to the high ground, looked around. There's nothing. Like, there's a bunch. While being chased. And if there's no save, by the way, during any event, they take off all the saves, which is prominent of itself. So, yeah, as you can see, here's the Roxy Raceway randomly in the back. But, anyways, so what you had to do was return your Phaser Blaster. No line of dialogue for this, no objective, no anything. But you had to click on a random box, which is the same texture as the entire room, by the way. It doesn't, like, stick out. And just a random press square prompt shows up.
Well, only if you look down.
Only if you looked at the exact angle.
The very specific location that the box was.
So, again, it's just so many things like this that are just vague and just cause so much frustration
and
with the game.
I think that was more in the back half of the game than the
And it was and that's what I was saying. I feel like it's a pretty okay first half. And the back half is just, I feel like they just ran out of time and they threw it together.
I think if they just spent, like, this game would have benefited from just a few more months of just work. Because there's a good game in here.
And I think that's something we really want to say.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people dunk on this game.
Oh,
I feel like a lot of this game is actually kind of alright.
Yeah, I think this game's way overhated. Like, we went into this game with expectations
ready to laugh
and
at
hell.
it.
Yeah, we were ready to hate this game. And I was pleasantly surprised.
I want to also say I didn't pay any money for this. This was free from the PS Plus games.
The monthly
or
games that you
claimed like 2 years ago.
years ago.
So I'm not $48 in. If I was, maybe I'd be a little bit more salty. But as is, I think it's kind of alright. I mean, it's like okay. I feel like it's a good enough. I mean, quote unquote, good enough first attempt. I think obviously there's so many just fucking problems with it that it just kind of sucks. Phrase battery life just sucks.
And the thing is like,
it's completely random.
The problems in this game are so fixable.
Yeah,
They
everything's
so
like
fixable.
Tuning or just directions.
Fine tuning and like just more time. Like the Roxy issue with.
I like the non-linearity, but it's just you need direction.
You need like that cueing. You need like that extra voice line or that extra indicator on the map, something to guide the player so they know what to do. But
like environments are great.
Mm-hmm.
The mall, like I said, could have done with a little more.
Sure,
like,
but I really like
died down.
I think the characters are interesting. I like the animatronics crew. Should have been a little scarier, but they get better.
They get better.
Yeah.
I understand what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Overall, this doesn't suck. I would say if you can get it on sale or on eBay or something, I would say play it. I like if you like FNAF. Like we were going and playing through all of FNAF games. This was kind of like the last one, other than like Ruin that we have to play.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck it, we should talk about this.
Yeah.
Because I think it's rather overhated, but
Yeah.
the hate that it gets completely deserved. But I don't think it's like that bad. Like,
No, it's not.
felt like we played Sister Location for the first time, and
I think
that
Sister
was a game
Location.
that I hated way more
I was
than
gonna say I think Sister Location has more problems in this game.
certainly on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, because like
Um,
I bet you this game is better on the PC if it doesn't blow up your computer.
yeah, that's another thing. On PS4, you load everyone. Like, you'll just randomly be
Yeah.
walking in a hallway and you'll just like hit 10 loading screens in a row.
It kind of, I hate to say this, but it kind of reminds me of Yandere Simulator and the bad
Ooh,
coding.
yeah.
Like,
Ooh, very true.
like
No, it's just messy.
I
This
know
game's
this
just
this game
messy.
is like 1,000 times better than Yandere Simulator. Don't get me wrong. Like,
Hiding's
it's
also useless.
yeah, hiding. If anything, I feel like hiding makes them come to you more.
Yeah, if you're ever being chased, don't hide. Just run around corners the whole time.
It's like if you turn a corner and you leave their line of sight, you will be fine.
Yeah.
Like the hiding mechanic is completely useless in this game. And same with the distraction mechanic. It's trash.
So yeah, look at that. I think this is up to the first parts and service. So I think, yeah, up to the first parts and service, this game had structure.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, after this endoskeleton bit, it's just like, what's happening? Like after this, like the game just, I really just think falls apart.
Yeah.
Because you just lose all direction, I feel like. Parts and service, I guess we can talk about this. A little fun mini game. I think we should actually talk about this in general as more like a general concept of like, how FNAF does this game feel? I feel like...
And
like,
I wanted to mention where it's like, with parts and service and the office sections, I love what the devs did with the callbacks to FNAF 1 with the doors in the office, and Help Wanted with sections like this. Like, they're calling back to the older games, and I love that. Or, like, the vents with Monty coming through the vent way later. Like, callback to FNAF 2. Like, that's amazing. It shows that these devs have love for this franchise, and it shows that they tried to make a good game, and that makes me respect them more for their craft, because there's clearly effort put into this game. Like, that, and, you know, I think parts and service here is a great little mini game.
Yeah,
and
it was pretty tense.
Like, yeah, it was tense, and I liked that.
Yeah.
It forces you to really focus.
We died here a couple times.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just forget one input. And it's like, oh god, was it square triangle? It's like,
And with the two of us, sometimes we forget something. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say as far as like feeling like FNAF, I feel like the office sections were always a big highlight. They're a little simple, but I think each one was different enough. It never felt like, oh, it's just another office section where you just have to balance power. Some of them were just balancing power. Others were like, oh, we have to like let Freddy through a door, and like there were stacking mechanics. And I feel like with FNAF, it's really about the stacking mechanics. That's why I wish every animatronic was a little bit more unique. But through the gameplay in these sections, it was okay. I feel like more office sections or more mini games or more stuff that isn't just chasing with the security bots. Because anytime it was that, the game was a slog, and anytime it was just like trying to be FNAF, the game felt good. And I feel like what Ruin is a more compact experience, like horror experience, where this is like a broader, but because it's broader, it just kind of in parts.
It's
and
like
the parts where they focus, it's better.
It's kind of like Resident Evil Village, where it's like trying to do everything,
yeah,
but it does nothing because it's doing everything.
Because like when you go back, like you either choose to kill Chica or Monty first, and then at the end of the game you could get like 10 billion endings, which a problem in of itself we'll talk about. Or you can go back and settle stuff. Oh, fuck off. Settle the stuff that you didn't do. So you can go back and you do like the Monty fight, and I love the Monty fight, but it's one of those things like getting to it just kind of sucked. I mean, like Mazer Size took me 30 minutes.
That was bad. We had to get like the whole family
and also at the end,
there.
actually we, as the entire family, sat down on the living room and we just tried to figure this fucking puzzle out. But it was fine. I didn't mind the puzzle, but there was no like animatronic balancing. It was just literally 30 minutes of a puzzle.
Which I thought was kind of nice. I think the puzzle was a little difficult for this game.
Well, again, it was vague. It didn't tell you the rows or the lanes, and
too.
And it was off camera. Any of the rows that you were switching, like 5 was just not on the camera.
But they got the balance down with not throwing an animatronic in there.
Kinda.
So you can focus on the puzzle.
I would have made the puzzle simpler, but had you deal with the animatronic. Like, let's say inside the puzzle, if you do it wrong, you let out an animatronic that's stuck in there or something. I
That'd
feel
be
like that
cool,
would have been
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's if you knew how it worked and stuff, and the game should have told you that
yeah.
beforehand.
Additionally, when you go back, you only have one save in one location, which just kind of think sucks.
Yeah.
It may just like that entire section, but like I said, like once they focus, like when you do the Monty section, you focus in on that boss fight, and it really feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when they do the little focused bits, it's good.
Like the daycare and Monty.
Yeah, but like when it's just like you're playing the game, just is kind of like you can hop in Freddy and trivialize it, and I don't know, it's just a little weird. I feel like it's just too big for its own good.
Mm-hmm.
It's either A, they need to take more time and make like the bigger sections better. I mean, look at this shit.
Yeah.
Or they just need to do what Ruin is, or what it seems like. We play like literally the first 30 minutes of Ruin, and just make it more linear. Like have maybe some diverting paths inside a level, but don't do this like, oh, you can go here, and change the story this way or that way. There's like 10 billion endings depending on what you do in this game. And it's like, what the fuck's even the real ending at this point?
Yeah.
Like we got an ending where we ripped Vanny apart.
Yeah, like what's the canon ending of this game? Like
I don't
don't
know.
even know what it is.
We also got an ending where we went down to see Springtrap burned him
and
alive.
that we could have a whole video just on that.
On that boss fight.
That
which,
was
horrendous. Again, that is good. That is your climax. You have everyone attack you at once.
There was something good in there. You can see what they were trying to do.
But it was just buggy. Yeah. Every time the cameras wouldn't actually show Springtrap. One camera was always broken. Like it would just show like clipping through the map. You couldn't tell if he was in there. The tentacles just would kill you.
There was one run where he was invisible and we had to guess which camera he was on.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's just Music Man makes like exploring in this game just painful too.
Yeah, the one place where you're supposed to be safe and you get punished for it.
So yeah, I in that final boss fight, I feel like it's just like that should have been the conclusion of the game, not like the secret ending.
Yeah,
it was like that's how the game should have ended, where you fight every animatronic at once, and then have like Vanny be the person you're fighting against, not like Springtrap.
Because like, who was the one that was really like messing with your head and like making your vision go all blurry like the whole game? Like Vanny was set up before this ending, so it felt like she was used for like 2 parts and then just thrown away.
Yeah,
and that's
she's
really
only if you see
cool.
her thing in the Chica cutscene.
Couldn't you go like this game without really like knowing like what Vanny like really is? Yeah, which is unfortunate because she's one of the coolest ones.
Yeah, you don't know like where the hideout is if you don't do Chica's section and go into some secret area. Which we only went into because we got so fucking lost in that section.
Yep.
Yeah, we literally found the secret ending area before we found the actual exit. Just kind of cringe. So there's a lot of shit in this game that was just like, But like I said, the little bits that were there, and even just the designs, like even in this room, it really does feel like you're playing the 3D FNAF game.
Mm-hmm.
But it just needed to be better. Also, like this section, like they just throw Moon in every so often.
Yeah.
It just never makes sense why he's even out. It's like why did he leave the daycare?
It's like watching the anime where it's like Sun and Moon's arc is done. Like why are we bringing him back?
Yeah.
Like he's in the daycare. He banned us. Done. Like he doesn't need to be used anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just a cheap way.
It's like Big Music Man doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And Little Music Man just disappears after a while.
Yeah.
Going like 10 vents in the latter part of the game. Like I said, the latter part of the game, they don't even know what they're doing anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of the other like major critical things.
The ending, the holdout buggy ending.
I mean, we kind of talked about that. Where just kind of, again, a lot of vagueness. Freddy yells hide. You actually have to use some audio device he has.
That, or you can bug the game by putting Freddy in the doorway that Roxy comes in through.
Yeah, Fred door is just dumb.
Yeah.
And I think like pseudo required, really.
Yeah.
The tentacle creature doesn't make sense because he ends up killing William Afton at the end anyways, so I don't know why he was trying to kill us. Him trying to hack Freddy was good.
Yeah.
I think just in general having multiple endings is fine. I feel like FNAF has had multiple endings, but not this many. Like we had one where we literally left the pizzeria and then we killed a bunch of kids and then we died like weeks later or something.
In like an alleyway or
Yeah,
something.
it was
Yeah.
so awkward.
And it was like a comic style. Like,
I
did
don't
they
mind
just
that, but yeah, it's just,
yeah, but
yeah,
it just felt like a little
cheap.
lazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of it, just like I said, this is literally just like spend more time. I feel like they were just lazy. I think this got out of scope. Really,
I
there's
think
so many locations like El Chips. Like, do you just
yeah.
go in El Chips once?
Yeah.
There's like a lot of stuff in that Chica section, like the loading docks. Like,
Yeah.
the fuck was even going on there? There's so many just places that just you just never even go to.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think they just did too much, and they just needed to for like the first 3D game. They just needed to have like a focused experience that had some divergence, but just not as much as they did.
What I will praise this game for, and it's like a small thing, but like the humor is actually like quite good. So like
Yeah.
the Faz facts that play in the elevator,
Okay, yeah.
those are funny. Like
Yeah, the timing works pretty well.
that the map bots, the comedy bot,
The comedy vibe was pretty
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah. So like it
This
felt,
one was good where you
yep,
like rattle off a bunch of like you
like
know,
safety hazards.
oh, you might have a seizure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it felt very like a love letter to Scott Cawthon's like exotic butters bit. Like it was
Which
much,
wasn't funny.
yeah, but they did it better in this
Yeah.
game. I just think this game is like Sister Location but better. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's just because fuck Sister Location, really.
Like
Has
Sister
one
Location.
good night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just I can't not recommend this game, but I wouldn't recommend it at full price. I think that's kind of like what I would say at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I like. I feel like as far as like the big things, I feel like I've hit everything I really want to say. So let's slap a number on it. What would you find? What would you give like as your big number on this?
See, it's tough because I didn't play this. So like as a watcher, I'm going to rate it like that cuz I didn't really play this. Watching this game, I got a lot of enjoyment from watching this game.
Yeah.
So it's like a 7.
Oh yeah, I would say like this enjoyment factor, I'll give you 7, but like playing factor, there'll be a lot of times that you just die to stuff that is the game's fault and not your own. There's a lot of times you'll just be lost, walking aimless, unless you just use guides and cheats, which I did at the end of the game because the game just refused to tell me
like,
anything.
You were googling like cheese strats. It was that bad.
Well, it was cheese strats and it was just genuinely like where to go. Like, where do I go from Mazer
like,
Size?
Where do I like? We got our party pass and we were like, what the fuck?
Like in
Mazer
Mazer Size, we had to go back into like not Roxy's. We had to go back into the daycare, but hit a left, and it was like, it just I don't know. There's just a lot of weird stuff, and I'm sure it was explained somewhere, but. Again, there's just no markers. There's no anything that tells you anything, and it's really just like I said. Latter half of the game is just so vague. I don't know.
First
so
half
I
is
would
pretty
say,
strong,
playing wise, sometimes you'll just fall through the floor. Like at the end of the game, it's just as like, oh, all right, let's get out. And so I hopped in Freddy, and then I hopped out of Freddy to press an elevator button. I instantly died to Moon. He wasn't anywhere near me. And the game, I guess, just auto kills you at 6, but not if you're in Freddy, and it doesn't communicate that with you. There's a lot of things that you'll just die, lose a lot of progress, or you'll fall through the map, or like you didn't press a button while the mini guy was chasing you.
Or your hiding spot got found even though you weren't anywhere near the animatronic.
Ironically, right now he is trying to find where the gun bin is. Look at this. It actually goes to it right here. So there's a lot of shit like this. Yeah, Bat Blaster Return. Just so stupid. So even Markiplier spent like 20 minutes on ×2 trying to find this. But there's just a lot of stuff like this that as a player is just infuriating.
It's very frustrating.
So like I'm giving it like 5 or 6 to play. But yeah, I think overall, like experience-wise, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, like
I want to say it's just enjoyable to play with other people.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd play this on my own, but someone that just likes FNAF, it's like
so people who like we grew up with these
like I'll
games.
sit through just like shit, like it's fine.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just it was just to play Security Breach and
That
see what it was. And I was expecting this to be like unplayable.
Oh yeah, I was expecting this game to be terrible, but I think
Like
this
the
game
loading screens are horrible.
I think this game is better than some of the Scott games. And that's like
one of them.
I think this is probably better than FNAF 3.
Okay. I mean, I just played that. Again, we just went through all of them.
Yeah.
And
but I mean,
I had much better opinion about it.
I don't think FNAF 3 is like trash or anything. I just think it's just missing something.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
It just feels like there's a hole in the game and it's missing something.
Yeah. The problem in this one, there is a hole in the game and you fall through it.
Yeah, true.
That's the big difference.
Yep.
So really, give it a shot if you have it. Wait for it to be on sale. Check eBay. Probably avoid console ports. They suck ass.
Yeah, definitely play it on the computer. It's smoother.
Alright, boys. That was the real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.